You're listening to the Chronicles of Living podcast, where we talk to everyday people about everyday things in the past, present, and future. Now let's talk. Greetings, my social media family. Dion here, the Chronicles of Living, coming at you live today on this beautiful Wednesday out in my favorite spot, the state park. And I am your dream pusher, your lifeguard, saving you from drowning in the world, drowning in yourself. And I just want to say today, I don't even know if I played the outro first. I can't even hear. I'm trying different mics, different setups. And this mic, I can't hear what I'm saying. I can't hear what just played. So I hope that I played the intro and not the outro. If I played the outro, then you know why. But as I said, this is a new podcast. I think this is maybe the 10th day of the podcast existing, or 11th day. And I really hope that it is helping you guys out there in great ways. That is the mission for my podcast. And this is the reason that I'm doing this whole thing. I decided to talk about today, are you living or are you just existing? And I know a lot of people probably don't think about that on a daily basis. But what I mean by that is this. Are you living the life that you want to live at this moment in time? Or are you just existing, doing the everyday things that's expected of you, whether it be from your job or your family or your spouse or your friends? You know, are you doing what they want you to do, what they require of you for your friendship, for your being a mom, a sister, or daughter, or whatever you are? Do you feel good about yourself where you are in this moment in time in your life? Ask yourself that question. And y'all know I like to kind of give y'all food for thought, you know, and understand this. Anything that I talk about, I've already experienced these things with myself, and I'm still learning and growing every day. So I don't want you guys to think that I made this podcast because I think I know it all. No, as I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself as well. I'm reminding myself as well of these different topics that I'm talking to y'all about that I have been working through in my life for years and still am. You know, as I said before, when you stop learning, you stop growing. So I don't care what type of degrees you have, what type of experience. And hey, I lived a whole lot in this 47 years. I've been through a whole lot in these 47 years of my life. And I know that I don't know it all. I only know what I experience. And that's the only thing that I try to share with people. And that's the only thing that I can kind of make suggestions on. And everybody has a different way of doing things. So only thing I can do is come from my angle and what worked for me. But what worked for me might not work for you. You know, and those are the things that we as people need to understand, that, you know, again, we are all individual beings and spirits and souls, and we're all wired uniquely. You know, we all have our own unique talents, gifts, you know, whatever. We have that. And the thing is with life is that we have to figure ourselves out. But when we are surrounded by the hustle and the bustle of life, the chaos of life and of family and of judgment and, you know, all of those things, you can't hear through the noise. You can't hear yourself through the noise. When you are giving of yourself to so many others, whether it be your mother or just a good friend or, a spouse, a dad, a father, and I say a father, a real father that's actually taking care of your responsibilities, a real mother that's actually taking care of your responsibilities. Life can be really, really, sometimes a little hard, because you have to deal with so many different personalities and you kind of lose yourself in the midst of that. So, I just want to tell you a little story. I try to tell you little stories about what I've went through to come to the conclusions that I've came to in my life and that helped me. So, I'm 47 now, but when I was 27, I got married. Well, if that's what you want to call it. But I got married. And it was my son's father, and we had built a whole lot within. We worked together as a team pretty good, I can say that. I'll give that. And in that we built 8 properties within a year and a half. We didn't build them. We built us a house from the ground up, though, on 3.5 acres of land. But we had properties also, and all included, it was 8 within a year and a half to maybe 2 years' time. Now, prior to me getting married, I used to sew. I used to make clothes. I was very good at it. It was my passion. I was a designer. I wanted to just be this big designer and have my boutique, and I wanted to get a property and live over top of the apartment and then have the boutique down the bottom, and that was where I was going. And then I was always into my music. I was recording at the studio and making songs, and it was just, for me, I had my own place, car, and everything. I was living my life until I met him. And then I thought that, us coming together as a team, it would make my vision, his vision grow even further. And I was working for the Marriott Hotel, making great money at that age and at that time. And we kind of combined some things together. And so he had kids. And what wound up happening is, slowly but surely, I started falling in the mode of, I don't want to say wife because I don't want to be disrespectful to that word, because wife can mean a lot of things. But in my terms, I fell into this wife mode, this stepmother mode that pretty much was giving herself to those roles. And I forgot about me. I forgot about the things that I love. I stopped sewing. I stopped doing my music. And he wasn't even supportive of either one of them. But at that time, I didn't really realize it because we were doing so much, had the properties, had the house, and then the kids. And so I got caught all up in all of that and trying to be this perfect stepmom and perfect wife. And then I got pregnant. Well, I was pregnant, and that, to be honest, that was why I got married. And this is another reason that I'm talking about this. Are you living or is just existing? And at that point that I was pregnant, I made the decision, even though this wasn't the man that I just was really totally in love with, and felt like this was my soulmate, I felt like I owed that to my son that I was having, to have a 2-parent home. And there's so many people out there that will give up who they are, what they want in life, to make sure others are happy. And, I was young, so I just thought that was the right thing to do. I was born and raised by a single mom, and, hats off to her. I believe she did a great job, and, it was hard for her. With the help of my grandparents, man, they were awesome, But I grew up in the hood, and I just wanted different for my child. And a lot of times we get caught up in that, where we want so much more for other people that we forget about ourselves. And you just don't realize it until somebody pulls your coattail. And what happened for me was this. An ex-boyfriend of mine, who at that time was in prison, and he got in touch with me through one of my family members. Actually, he got the letter to her, and then she gave it to me. And he pretty much was just wanting to know how I was doing, and asked me, was I doing my music and my sewing and all of this stuff, asking about who he remembered, And I wrote him back, and I was like, no, I'm not sewing, and I'm not doing my music, and no, he knew I got married and everything. So it was the letter that he wrote back that made me realize, wow, I lost myself. And in this letter that he wrote back he pretty much cussed me out from the jail cell. He told me off, and he said to me, I don't believe that you gave up who you are. I don't believe, did you let that, I ain't going to say what he called him, but I don't believe you let him take you from the person that you are. That is who you are. Your music was good. Your sewing was good. You were good at those things. And you gave that up. I don't believe it. And so what happened from that point changed my life. I sat there and read that letter over a couple of times. And I just sat there and was just like, looked at my house. I'm in this beautiful house. I had a nice car. But with all of that, I wasn't happy. I realized at that moment, just with that one letter, with those few words, that I was just existing. I was just going to work, making this money to keep up with the lifestyle that I really particularly didn't care about, to be honest. I didn't want the 3.5 acres of land. That was him. I was happy with just a house, single home, just with a little bit of grass, and I was cool with that. But this was him, and I just went with the flow. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of times that's what we do. We go with the flow to make other people happy. But then we're not. It's not really all the way sitting well with us. But we're like, okay, all right, well, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Let's just do this. And especially if you have kids, then you really like, yeah, this is the best thing. I want my kid to have the best. I want him to grow up in the best neighborhood and the best house and things of this nature. Especially if you come from the hood, And don't get me wrong. Now, to be honest, I am grateful to God that I grew up in the hood, because now I have both sides of the fence. I understand the struggle. I understand the corporate life. I just understand the middle in between. I understand it all. I can relate to pretty much any type of ethnic background, any group of people. I can relate because of the lifestyle that I've lived throughout my life. But what happened after that was this. I decided that he was right. I decided that, I miss music. I miss my music. I did miss the sewing, but I felt at that moment in my life that I couldn't split my energy because, now I had a son. So I had to pick one or the other. And at that moment, I felt like the music, I was still somewhat young. I looked young. And I felt like I still had the gift, going on. So what I did was I sat down and wrote down what I wanted to do. I said, I'm going to start my own record label. That's what I'm going to do. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it big. And that's what I did. I wrote down the things that research what a record label requires and the departments and things of that nature. And I called to meet. I wrote down friends and family members that I thought would be good to be a part of this. And I invited them to my mom's house in the basement, and we had a meeting. And I gave them all the descriptions of the different departments, and I told them, I let them, what I did first is I recorded 2 songs first. with a great producer. And then I let them hear the songs. And then I told them my plan. And then I told them, you know, if they were interested, to write their name by the position that they wanted to take. Now, mind you, no one was getting paid. But this was my dream. This was my vision. And I felt like at that moment in my life, that's what I wanted. And so I decided that I was going to invite these people, and whoever was with me was with me. Whoever wasn't, wasn't. And that was okay. Because as I said before, everything is not for everybody. But when you're pursuing your dreams, you need to find out who with you. You do. And you need to find out who against you. Because then that's how you can keep a flow going. That's how you can, you know, live and not exist, because you will surround yourself with the people that believe in you, you know. And not to say that the people that don't, that you just cut them off. I mean, well, it depends on if it's real negative or toxic. Yes, definitely cut them off. Family or friend, I'm sorry. I do it all the time. But the people that believe in you will feed you. And that's the bottom line. And I just wanted to share that story with you. And yes, I did, you know, stop the record label. You know, people, you know, my son's father wasn't into it, but then he was. And then there was a whole big battle court, whatever. So anyway, you know, I put it on hold or whatever. But I'm just telling you this story to light a new fire under you that's listening. And I'm not here to say that, okay, my music is dead forever. I don't know why, but here recently a lot of people have been asking me about it, and we'll see. But right now my focus is this podcast, this platform, and waking up people. Because I know it would be a better world if we don't have a bunch of people doing the same thing every day that they really are unhappy to do. You know, you wake up at, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. If you're by yourself, you know, you get washed, get dressed and everything. You get on your commute, whichever way you do, and you go to your cubicle, or you go to, if you're in a different industry, you go to your appointments, or you go to your construction site, or whatever you do. You do it every day. And you do it why? Because you got bills to pay. You got bills to pay. And what I've noticed is this. The more we make, the more we spend. The more we put ourselves out there, you know, like the bigger house, the bigger car, and things of that nature. There's very few people that are frugal enough with their money to say, you know what? Okay, I got a promotion, but I have a dream that I want to invest in. So therefore, I'm not going to buy a brand new car. I'm not going to buy this big old house. What I'm going to do with that extra money, I'm going to invest in me. And I'm going to live my life. Whether it be you want to travel, you want to just buy a boat, whatever it is. Don't go bigger. Stay where you are. Downsize. You know, I think for me, having so much at a young age and walking away from it all for my happiness, because that's what I wound up doing once I started the record label. It seemed like once I started that record label, it just lit a fire in me, and it made me really look at my life at that moment. And he wasn't right anyway, so it was just like, you're not even right, you're not even doing right, so why am I even here? You don't appreciate me, or this, like, why am I here? You know, again, I say, you know, people treat you how you allow them to treat you. And I'm not one that's going to allow somebody to treat me any old kind of way. I'm not. You are responsible for your own happiness. And until people realize this, and stop blaming and pointing the finger and saying, he won't do this or she won't do this, and, you know, I'm unhappy and I'm miserable because they won't come out, they want to party or not. So what? That's what they want to do with their life. That's what they want to do with their life. We don't have control over nobody but ourselves. And when you realize that, I mean, when it really, really hits you, you will be surprised at how you would change and how wide open your eyes will become to life, things, and people, and how your attitude will change. Now, I'm not sitting up here telling you to just start going off on people and no. I just need you to realize that you have the power to change your life. You have the power to start living at any moment, to make little subtle changes in your life at any moment. That's what I'm doing. I had to make little subtle changes in doing this podcast. It does require time. It does require research. It does require some finances spent. It does. But it's worth it for me. I love it. I feel good about myself. I feel good that I'm helping people. I'm thankful to the people that inbox me and that let me know that this podcast is helping them. It really puts fuel to my fire and makes me want to do it more and more. And yes, I don't right now have a whole bunch of money sitting in the bank. I don't. And I'm still trying to figure life out. But guess what? I feel like I'm living again. I am living again. I stopped existing and I decided that I want to live again. Yes, I do have to work. Yes, I do have to make income. But you have to find a balance in your life so that you can do the things that you love on top of doing, taking care of your priorities. And as I said in one of my podcasts, it's like, when you become a parent, you kind of fall back on a lot of things, your dreams and all like that. But you have to find a way. You owe it to yourself to give yourself at least an hour a day to work on the things that you want to do. And whether it is your kids are still young and you like, I want to save for college or whatever. There is something that you have inside of you that makes you happy. There is something. I don't care if it is walking in the park every day or once a week and just sitting out there with yourself and with a blanket and a little picnic basket and just soaking in the air and the breeze and just writing in a journal. I don't care if it's going to the gym, giving time to yourself to make sure your body is right and going to the gym and going to a swimming pool, anything. It could be small, y'all. It don't have to be something big. But what is your dream? What is your vision? What are your goals? What is it that before, life stopped for you? Before you stopped living, before you stopped when you was young going to, maybe the parties, whatever, and you was having a ball. And at what point in your life did you stop living? Ask yourself that, because the thing is this, you have to get to the root of the issue. I'm not going to say the problem, but the issue. It is fixable. You have to get to the root of it. I was talking to one of my girlfriends the other day, and that is kind of what sparked this title. And we were just talking, and she was expressing to me how she's trying to figure it out. And I don't want to put her age. I think she's now 49, I think. But she don't understand, like, everything she tries and it doesn't work out the way she wants it, and she gets excited about it. And I'm like, she know me, and I've tried a whole lot of big things and everything did not work out and pan out the way I wanted it to, or either it came to a halt at some point for whatever reason. But you got to get back up. You got to dust your stuff off. Everything is not going to work out right away. And sometimes everything has to come together, like I talked the other day about that. Sometimes the pieces of the puzzle has to come together. And so you have to do this piece, that piece, this piece. And then once you get finished doing all those little pieces in your life, at some point, they're all going to come together and make sense for you. All of my experience, all my background, whether it be corporate, whether it be the entertainment business, is all helping me right now. It's all coming together. I look back and I'll be like, oh, wow, if I didn't go and work that job, I wouldn't know how to do this. If I wasn't, into music, I wouldn't know how to do this. If I didn't host, a video show, I wouldn't know how to do this. If I didn't try to make a website. It's just so many things, so many pieces of the puzzle is finally coming together for me. And yes, I am 47. So you're never too old. You're never too old. I don't care if you're 60, 70 years old. It's one of my motivational speakers that I listen to right now, drawing a blank, but I remember her saying that she started her speaking engagements at 45. She always wanted to paint, and she started at, I think, 60 doing that, and I think she was 70 at the time, and she said she was about to start going for her degree for art or something like that. And I just found that to be so inspirational, because so many people get to a certain age and feel like that's it. This is it. I'm retired. Okay, I'm just going to go to Walmart. That's my mom thing. Every other day. And I mean, no, life doesn't stop because of your age. It does not. Whatever you have in you, whatever has always been your passion, you can dust it off and do it. Even if, for example, my fashion, I love my fashion. And I really I just don't have the patience to sew anymore. But what I did was this. I worked at the Boys and Girls Club part-time. And I asked the kids what did they want to do. And a lot of them were like, oh, media, fashion, this and that. I was like, okay, I could do this. So what I did was I created a fashion club and a media club for the Boys and Girls Club for that summer. Do you know I had 100 kids sign up to those clubs? I was not expecting that. But that lit a fire in me. And this is what I'm saying about your gifts, your dreams. You have to do them. You don't know how it's going to help people. And that summer was one of the best summers of my life, to teach those kids how to sew by hand, how to make their own little garments. The girls made the tutus. I had the boys make painted shirts, and I taught them how to model, because I used to model when I was young, and I taught them how to walk. And we threw this big old fashion show. And for the media club, I got my camera and I let them go around and film every day, and film the different kids in the different room, and I put the video together, and we did the damn thing. At the end of that summer, we had the big screen. We had rented the big screen, and I let the video play, and they did their walk, and oh my gosh, those kids, I'm just getting chills right now. Those kids, they felt so good about themselves. I borrowed the camera from one of the art teachers, and we did a photo shoot in a little playground, and they wore their little outfits, and their self-esteem, the mothers came to me all and just thanked me and just said, you don't understand what you did for my child. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it, because some of the kids, one of the parents came to me and she was like, you don't understand what you did for some of the kids' self-esteem. And when I looked, and she was telling me who she was talking about, the young lady, she was a little chubby. She was overweight. But at that moment, I realized, I never considered none of that. I never said, oh, no, you can't be in a fashion club because you're overweight. You need to be skinny. I never said none of that. It was just all fun. This is what you want to do? You can do it. So at that moment, I instilled in them as young kids. And the Boys and Girls Club, a lot of kids in the Boys and Girls Club come from broken home. Some parents don't really care for them, but sometimes it's just that the parents are just, single parents or whatever, and their ends are not meeting. But a lot of those kids, they came from, as I spoke to them, their self-esteem was just really jacked. But at the end of that, they felt so good about themselves. And I haven't spoke to them because I was in another state or whatever, but still to this day, I feel so good about myself that I was able to share my gifts and my talents with those young kids. So I'm going to end this from here. I know this was a long one, but I just need y'all to think about that. Are y'all living, or are you just existing? Are you just going into work every day, punching the clock, and that's okay if that's the life you want. But you need to do something else outside of that, because we all have something to give. We all do. I don't care if you are a person that know how to organize well. You can go help somebody that don't know how to organize their house. If you're resourceful, you don't have to know how to dance, sing, and all of that. That's not just talent. Talent could be being the bomb mom and helping kids around the neighborhood. Give of yourself to others, y'all, and start living your life. Start taking time out for you. Start taking time out for you. All right, so that's all I got to say today. And give me some feedback, y'all. Like, subscribe, follow, things of that nature. Y'all can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, even though I gotta get my stats up. I'm focused on the podcast so much. But Chronicles of Living, pretty much for everything. Just search me up. And I love you guys. I really do. And I pray that you all take this message to heart and start living and stop just existing. Until next time, I'll see y'all. Thank you for listening to Chronicles of Living, where we talk to everyday people about everyday things in the past, present, and future. And if you are pursuing your dreams, I'm proud of you. Because the best part of life is when you decide to live. To keep up with us, please visit chroniclesofliving.com. Until next time, this is Avion, your dream pusher. I love you guys.